Devotional. Living under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91 verse 1. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High shall dwell under the shadow of the Almighty. Psalm 91 is known as a hymn of trust in divine protection. It is not a magical promise that removes the trials of life, but a security that comes from an intimate and constant relationship with God. Dwelling under the shelter of the Most High means remaining in communion with Him, trusting in His sovereignty and power. It is in that closeness that we find rest, strength and peace, even if external circumstances are uncertain. 1. To dwell, not to visit. The text does not say, "He who visits in the shelter of the Most High," but "he who dwells." This implies permanence, intimacy, and daily communion. Many seek God only in times of difficulty, but the call is to live constantly under His cover. Those who dwell in His presence develop a firm, deep-rooted, and stable faith that is not dependent on emotions or circumstances. 2. The shelter of the Most High, a safe refuge. The word shelter conveys the idea of protection, of a place where we find shelter from danger. God Himself is that safe haven. When we recognize our frailty and take refuge in Him, we discover that His faithfulness is stronger than our fears, and His love covers our weaknesses. 3. The shadow of the Almighty, rest and strength. Dwelling under His shadow speaks of closeness and dependence. Someone's shadow only covers us if we are close enough. In the shadow of the Almighty we find rest from the weight of life, freshness in the heat of trials, and renewed strength to walk without faltering. Practical applications. 1. Make prayer and reading the Word a daily practice, not as a ritual, but as a constant dwelling in the presence of God. 2. When you face difficulties, remember that you do not need to run in search of a distant refuge, you are already under the shadow of the Almighty. Reinforce that trust with gratitude and faith. 3. Examine your heart. Are you just visiting God from time to time or really dwelling with Him in your everyday life? Conclusion. Psalm 91 verse 1 invites us to experience a life of closeness to God, where fear dissipates and trust grows. Dwelling under the shelter of the Most High does not mean the absence of problems, but the certainty that we are not alone and that the Almighty overshadows us. Living in that trust transforms the way we approach daily life and strengthens our walk in faith.